We love to talk about success. We glorify the start of a thing, the excitement of taking that big leap. We celebrate the glow up, the breakthrough, the moment when it finally all comes together. But you know what we don't talk a lot about? The graveyard of people that never made it. The ones who started but never finished. The ones who had potential, they had the ideas, they had the talent, but they didn't survive the middle. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean it in a very real way, because most people don't make it to the finish line. They just don't. And it's not because they weren't good. It's not because they weren't capable. It's because the middle is what broke them. And that's the part no one really prepares you for. So if you're in this space where you're, I just started and I feel stuck, or why isn't this working yet? Or maybe this was a mistake space, then this episode is for you, because what you're going through, it's not failure. It might feel like failure, but it's not. And if you don't learn how to survive it, you'll never see what's possible for you on the other side of it. Welcome to the Upgrade with Elle. The people who make it aren't always the smartest people. They're not always the most talented or the most well-connected. They're just the ones who figured out how to survive the middle. And the middle is a brutal space, okay? So I want to talk about what people expect in that space versus what actually happens. Most people expect steady progress, like I put in the work and I should see the results. They expect moments of validation. They think they'll always feel like pushing forward. They feel like there's always going to be signs that they're on the right path, like some sort of external confirmation that their work is not going in vain. But here's what actually happens. There's no instant results. You're working super hard, you're showing up, and then there's nothing. There's crickets. This is where doubt starts to creep in. This is where you start questioning yourself. Did I make the wrong decision? Should I turn back now? When there's no validation, there's no one clapping for you in this phase. It's just you and the uncertainty, and that is tough. And if you think success is just about talent and effort, explain why there are people that are less talented that are winning. I can tell you why. Because they didn't quit when it got uncomfortable, and they didn't stop when they got to the middle. So there are 4 stages that I've identified about this middle space. And I want to talk you through them because most people quit around stages 2 or 3. Very few people see it to stage 4. And if you know these stages, it might help you push through them because you'll anticipate them coming. The first stage is excitement. This is when you first get into something new. You feel like you could do it day and night. It's what you eat, breathe, and sleep every single day. You feel unstoppable. And you feel like whatever you're going after is going to change your life. You're running on adrenaline, and that's not sustainable because that's just the adrenaline from the decision itself. Here's the reality check. Excitement is an unsustainable energy source. If you rely on motivation alone, you just won't make it through this phase. Stage number 2, this is when doubt starts to creep in. You start to realize that it's harder than you thought, that things aren't moving as fast as you wanted them to or what you expected. You start looking around for validation, like, where's their proof that this is working, that there's progress, that things are coming together. You start comparing your timelines to other people's, and then you start to ask yourself if you made the right decision. But here's the reality check of this stage. Most people start thinking and justifying their way out. They think maybe this really isn't for me, but they don't realize that they're just in the middle. That's where they are, and this is just the process. Stage 3 is your breaking point, okay? This is where most people quit, and it's the most dangerous stage because it's when quitting actually starts feeling logical, like it starts making sense. You start telling yourself, I gave it my best shot. I did everything I could. I worked really hard, and you convince yourself that walking away makes sense, that it is the right decision. But stage 3 is where 90% of people quit. 90%. And they don't fail. They just stop. That's not failure. They just stopped. They just walked away, and they could have been inches from their breakthrough. Stage 4. This is the shift because only 10% make it. This is where the winners separate themselves. Because this is when you stop overthinking and just decide you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. You're not going to let the overthinking stop you. You're going to stop searching for motivation. You're going to do whatever it is, whether you feel like it or not, whether it's growth, a business idea, or whatever. This is when you push through and you've made that decision. You've changed your mind. And the difference between success and failure is that most people never even make it past stage 3. So if you've made it to stage 4, you're already winning because you're deciding that there are no other options other than just to keep going. It's not enough just to know the middle is hard, okay? You need a plan to actually push through this space. So let's talk about how you stay in the game even when it feels impossible. And I'm going to give you some strategies that I want you to write down so that you can be prepared to navigate this stage, okay? What most people do, and this is the first thing, is they set completely unrealistic timelines for themselves. They believe success should come a lot faster. They believe big results should be there right away. And when things aren't happening fast enough, that's when they start thinking it's not working. But that's the wrong mindset to have in that space. What actually works is giving yourself more realistic windows of time to get things done. If something was going to take you 6 months, double it or even triple it and detach from these rigid timelines that just distract you and they suck your motivation right out of you. Replace it with, how long will it take if I just don't stop? Okay? Rewrite your expectations. I will keep going for X amount of time, no matter what. And make that commitment to yourself a non-negotiable. If you can only commit to something when it's going to happen fast, are you even really committed at all? Ask yourself that question. The second thing is I want you to consider the fact that people look for external validation, which we've talked about before. And so you know that tricks your mind into believing that you're on the wrong path if you're not getting that validation. You're assuming that something's not working because people aren't telling you it's working. People aren't telling you and giving you that extra confirmation. I want you to track your progress instead, your own progress. I want you to keep a proof file in your phone or in your journal, something where you can detail out every small win, every small milestone, every lesson learned, every time you figured something out. Write it down. This helps you to see your progress when it feels like nothing is happening, because things are happening. You're forgetting and you're not giving yourself credit for those things. So today I want you to create a proof file, name it in your phone or in your notes, wins and lessons, and write down one small win from this past week. And I want you to adopt that as a behavior. Try to do it daily, but at the very least, do it weekly. This process is going to help you train your mind to appreciate the middle, okay? The next thing is people often spend too much time making every single decision, sitting in that state of analysis paralysis and just really having a difficult time pulling the trigger when it comes to posting, making a decision, pivoting their strategy. And just consider the fact that all that time you're taking, someone who's less talented than you is making the decision faster and getting everything done times 10. So I want you to adopt a post and pivot strategy that allows you to do it and adjust later. That's what needs to happen. And if you're feeling stuck on something, give yourself a decision-making window of time, 24 to 48 hours. That's all you get. Done is better than perfect. I know that's going to scare some of you, but most of you spend too much time overthinking and then you don't do, and you waste a lot of time. So I want you to practice by picking one thing that you've been overthinking, and I want you to set a 24-hour deadline for yourself to make a decision and act on it. It's going to help you to push past that, because while you're overthinking things, someone else has your idea and they are executing it and they're winning and you're not. And that's not the way it should be. You should be winning with your idea. Another thing that most people do is they assume that people are watching and judging their every little move. Let me tell you something. They're not. You get caught up in what other people might think about your business, about your content, about the shift that you're making in your life. Who gives a damn? Who cares? What actually works is realizing that most people aren't watching you. They aren't paying attention to you, and they're too busy with their own lives, which is great because you should be busy with yours. People are not watching everything that you're doing. People scroll through thousands of posts. They see tons of content and consume so much throughout a day. They're really not focused on you the way you're focused on you. So I want you to write down one thing that you haven't done because of fear of judgment, because this is real and I know it's hard. But today, seriously, I want you to do this because no one cares as much as you think they do. I want you to do the thing that you've been scared to do. And the people that you're worried about judging you, consider this. They'll be the same ones asking you for advice when you make it. So please don't sell yourself short by overthinking and being fearful of people's judgment. Another thing that most people do is they rely on motivation. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot rely on your motivation, your mood, your willpower, your adrenaline. When things feel hard, they're waiting for that feeling again. And you'll be waiting forever because that feeling is not always there. What actually works is building systems and forcing that consistency. Create your schedule, and even when you don't feel like it, you still have to do it. Make the work automatic. If you remove decision fatigue, like we just talked about, you'll remove your excuses. So I want you to set some non-negotiable rules for yourself, things that you're going to commit to doing no matter how you feel. Schedule the work on your calendar like a paid job because you're praying and hoping that whatever it is you're going after is going to be paid one day. Winners do not rely on motivation, I can assure you, in anything. They rely on systems that make quitting impossible. That's what winners do. Here's what I want you all to really take away from this episode. I don't really care how talented you are. I believe you're probably great, but I don't care how smart you are or how talented you are. The question is, can you survive the middle? Because most people don't. And if you can figure out how, that's the key to success. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most talented or the most well-connected. You just don't stop, and then you'll get there. And I need you to hear me when I say this part. This is just a test. The middle is where most people fade to black. They disappear. It's where most people convince themselves that it wasn't meant for them. It's where they start to make the excuses that sound logical. But again, it is just a test. I want you to pass it because the people who pass, they win by default. But if you quit now, you'll never know what was actually possible for you. And the good news is you don't have to be all the things in order to be successful. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be the one who doesn't stop. So if you're in this space right now where you're stressed out, not really knowing what to do, nothing looks like it's working, where you're questioning, is this even what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this worth it? I need you to ask yourself one thing. What if you're closer than you think? Because I promise you, you are. So I just need you to keep going. And as always, upgrade accordingly.